Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of that show that will not be named. I'm your host, Brian, or Game Prince, whatever you prefer. And today I would like to tell you my rock and roller coaster story. Now, this story is full of lies, deceit, passion, romance, and intrigue. A little bit of espionage thrown in there, too. Essentially, this is the tale of the first time, and probably the only time, I will ever go on rock and roller coaster in, wasn't Universal, I don't know where the fuck it was. Basically, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, meaning last year I believe, went on a trip to Florida. I was invited to Florida by my friend. Went with him, another one of our friends, and his mother. She funded the whole trip. Fantastic woman. And while we were down there, the first ride we ever went on, we ended up going around to all the parks, all of them, every single one you can name, between Universal and Disney. And the first ride that was going to kick off the whole fucking thing was Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. That's what it was called, and it was scary. Because me personally, I have not been on a roller coaster. Before that, I had not been on a roller coaster in like 5 years. I couldn't remember the last time I was on a roller coaster. That's a lie. The last time I was on a roller coaster, it was during Christmas. It was my ex, and we were going down a fucking, what was it? I think it was Nitro or some shit. At Six Flags for Christmas, and it was fucking freezing cold out. I remember this. And we all went up, and then it goes fucking down, and it just fucking slams you into the ground. And I just remember being like, I was wigging the fuck out. I'm like, hey, take me off. What if I fall forward? Yeah, so that's before all the roller coasters that I went on this trip. That was the last time I've ever been on a roller coaster. Now, mind you, that was like 5 or so years. Sweet Jesus. Anyways, the whole rock and roller coaster story was this, essentially, in a nutshell. I don't like it when roller coasters go upside down. My equilibrium got a big problem with that. So, before we went on this ride, I was so fucking petrified. While we were waiting in line, I ended up researching every fucking thing I could about this ride. Every little detail. I know that, when it starts off, there's a countdown. Once it ends the countdown, it goes from like 0 to like 64 miles per hour in like 0.2 seconds or some shit like that. I knew that the ride was a duration of like 40 seconds or some shit like that. It was about like 1 minute and 40 seconds. I looked up videos detailing the interior of the ride, where the flips were, what signs to look out for, and it got to the point where like by the time I got on a ride, I was looking around and my heart was just pounded out of my chest by the time I got up. Because you take these limo things, right? The whole point of the ride is you take these, they look like limos, like stretch, whatever the fuck they're called. These long cars, and you load up, and the whole thing's cool because it's got like a city urban vibe, and the whole theme of the ride is that you're at the studio with Aerosmith, and that they're going to a show, and you're invited to the show, and you're going, but they don't have enough room for you in the car, so you get your own car, yada yada, you race around, and there's a whole bunch of landmark signs everywhere for, I believe, Los Angeles. Pretty sure Los Angeles. I don't know. Anyways. And what essentially happens is you get in the car and you blast off. What the first thing they do is like you're sitting in there and, you have speakers right in the back here. So music's playing while you're on it. Now that was one of the biggest things that was a huge comfort to me on that ride. Because I'm like, all right, if I'm going to die on a roller coaster, I might as well die listening to fucking like Aerosmith. That at least would be okay. Not that I listen to Aerosmith on a regular basis, but I figured, I like their music. So, as I'm getting on the ride, right, all the research that I did while we were waiting online, I just kept trying to justify reasons to get on it and not to bitch out. And because that whole ride, I was just full of anxiety. I think one of my biggest fears is dying on a ride. Doesn't matter what kind of ride it is, mainly roller coaster, but just dying on a ride is like my worst fucking fear. Thank you, Final Destination, you fucking assholes. So yeah, so we got on the ride, and while we're going through the motions, getting buckled in, getting pulled up to the the thing where you launch and all that, I just keep trying to fucking justify reasons for why I shouldn't be afraid and why I should be enjoying myself. And I'm like, when you blast off, there's a like a really cool bass line that leads you down this hall. And one of the first things you do that I knew was coming up is we do a flip. Now, as we're on the ride, first off, I'm sitting, I'll give you a little bit of a visual here with this fucking retarded chair. Is like there's the thing, and I'm over here, I'm looking around like, oh my god, it's so scary. And then my buddy next to me, he's just like, hey, you might want to, fucking lean back against the thing, because we're gonna fucking go off in a sec. I'm like, oh Jesus, good idea. Yeah, I wouldn't want to fucking do that. And then, broken neck. Not that I'm sure that'll happen, but I would have fucking hit the back of my head on it as soon as we blasted. So we go off, and you get the doom, and you go up to fucking 60, 40, fucking, I don't know, whatever miles per hour. And we're like, okay, we're clearing the tunnel. And I'm bracing myself for the first fucking flip, because the first thing you do when you get out of the tunnel is you go upside down. Luckily, you're only upside down for like a fucking fraction of a second. So we went through that, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's not so bad. I can live with that. I can deal with this. And then, the rest of the ride, honestly, the thing I think that kept me sane through most of it was the music and the fact that there was just this cool breeze just in the air. There was no hotness, no heat, no nothing. It was just, so nice. And yeah, and it's funny because like we're going through, right? And we passed this giant Civic Center sign. Now, the only thing that I wasn't big on about this ride was that every fucking thing in the ride feels like it's like right there. Like, it's probably like a good, like, that far away from you, I guess, or maybe higher. But everything, it feels like it's like just going right over your fucking head. Like, I feel like if I fucking, whenever I go on a roller coaster, this is how I sit. Because I'm fucking petrified of having my head taken off or being scalped on one of these fucking things. Just because every roller coaster I seem to go on now, especially ones that are in the closed rooms, have the beams. And the two biggest culprits of this are fucking Rock and Roller Coaster and Space Mountain. They're too fucking, like, low, in my opinion. Or at least to me, they're too low. Maybe because I feel giant. I just feel, every time I'm in a fucking ride, I do this. I'm always like this, I'm always ducking down. Because I'm fucking petrified of hitting my head. So as we're going through the whole thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, good. I see the Civic Center sign past us, and I'm like, thank God, only 40 more seconds left. Because, like I said, I did so much fucking research on this thing. I'm like, okay, we passed that sign. All right, we're 20 seconds in. We passed that. Like, I didn't even need to keep a timer. I could tell by the fucking landmarks as we passed them how far along we were on this thing. And we came through the end. And my friend knew that I was fucking petrified of going on this thing, but I went on anyways. And as I was going through, we got off, and I'm sitting there, and, I got on, my hair was like, I guess this-ish. I got off, my hair was like fucking that, maybe worse. It was a bonkers fucking mess. And my friend turned around to me, now mind you, this is the first ride of the whole fucking trip. Turned around to me, he's like, hey, Brian, how was that? I'm sitting there like, I feel like I just got fucked. And that kicked off the rest of that trip for me. Getting over that. Of course, there was no fucking way I was going to go on any other roller coasters the rest of the time. Except for Mount Everest. And the only reason I went on Mount Everest was because I have a gigantic fear of Yetis. I guess by extension, apes or gorillas. And I know you're going to laugh at me because I know they don't exist. Trolls. Only for the fact that I don't like giant things that eat people. Giant fucking things that eat people that either look like monkeys or resemble humans just freak me the fuck out. You can thank the Maelstrom ride for that, and in Disney, I believe, or Epcot, whatever the fuck it was. You can blame that ride for that, because that scared the fucking piss out of me. It made me afraid of anything human related that lives in the forest and eats people and casts magic and yada yada yada. Trolls and Yetis, which sometimes I consider both, because thank you, Skyrim, you decided to combine two of my worst fucking fears into a cycloptic hybrid. Yeah. Scared shitless of them. So I went on Mount Everest, one, because I just love the intro to that ride. When you're walking through, bro, I feel like I'm in fucking India or wherever the fuck that ride is supposed to take place, because it is just, the scenery fantastic. Also, I just really, it was a decent roller coaster. You know, it went just the right amount of fast. And then, of course, after that, yes, I did go on, we did end up going on Space Mountain, that Rickety Mountain thing, and Splash Mountain. Splash Mountain, I know it's not a roller coaster, but Splash Mountain, I didn't think I was going to go on. Because I had heard too many fucking horror stories about the Splash Mountain knockoff that they have at Six Flags and how many people get fucking hurt on that thing. I am never going on that one. But I did go on Splash Mountain at least once in my life, and I'm happy I did that. So yeah, this trip to Florida was definitely, I went on all the rides I had never gone on before in the past. Or at least don't remember going on, because I certainly don't remember ever going on Space Mountain, that Rickety Mountain that's literally right near Splash Mountain, Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm trying to think what else. Went on the Andy's Room ride. Went on the Mummy. That was interesting. The Mummy was alright. The Mummy crushed my fucking nuts. I don't like the way that he's sitting there. You can tell that's an old ass ride. Because like the way that my fucking feet were sitting in there, my balls, my dick were fucking being squeezed between my muscular thighs. And that fucking sucked. And then, what else? We also went on the Skull Mountain ride? Skull something or other. To be honest, that ride was pretty bad. Because the fucking screens kept shutting off while we were like halfway through that ride. Because we would like enter a new room and the screen to like the left would be like, and you'd hear the sound, but the whole screen would go gray. I'm like, I could see the canvas. Like the immersion was completely broken. Plus I just don't like Skull Island for the giant insects and shit that. Yeah, and then lastly, I guess would be the what was the other big deal ride that we went on? Pirates of the Caribbean. Went on that twice. So that was pretty good. Love that ride. I like when you get up to the town and everything smells like rum. Because everything smells like, what is it? Vanilla. They spray like vanilla or whatever shit in the air. And that's apparently, I guess that's what rum to some people smells like. But it's whatever. Yeah, it was a fun time. But yes, that is my story about the first time I ever went on the Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. Hope you had as much fun listening to it as I had recounting this horrible tale. I apologize. I forgot where all of the espionage, romance, and deceit came from. But in the end, you know, it was still a wild ride. So yeah, that's that. Bye.